Have you ever imagined waking up every day with the certainty that something great is about to happen? Imagine opening your bank account and finding an unexpected deposit, receiving a gift that solves a long-standing problem, or even paying off that debt that's been keeping you up at night. Sounds like a miracle. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. There's a 7-day spiritual technique that connects you directly to God's infinite source of blessings, and it's based on one of the most powerful psalms ever revealed, Psalm 23. For centuries, ordinary people and great spiritual leaders have used this prayer to unlock abundance, overcome barriers, and see doors open where walls once stood. It's not magic, but a proven spiritual pattern, the same principle that brought down the walls of Jericho and turned defeats into victories. And when you understand how to apply this method with faith, you'll realize that no scarcity can resist the power of the number 7. So, if you've tried everything and feel like nothing works, take a deep breath. Today I'll show you, step by step, how to use Psalm 23 as a true spiritual map to attract prosperity. And don't be surprised if, even before the 7th day, you start seeing clear signs that money is on its way. After all, when God decides to act, He doesn't ask permission, He simply pours out blessings without measure. In recent years, many people have been seeking ways to experience miracles in areas such as finances, health, and relationships. Among so many practices and prayers, there is a 7-day technique that stands out for its simplicity and power. It consists of combining an ancient spiritual pattern with Psalm 23, creating a direct connection with God's promises and blessings. When applied with faith, this practice has already transformed lives, bringing prosperity where there was previously scarcity. The basis of this method is simple yet profound. By reciting Psalm 23 daily for 7 days, with clear intention and confidence, you create a spiritual energy field that fosters abundance. It's not just about repeating words, but about aligning with their meaning, allowing your heart to open to receive. It's like tuning into a specific frequency where blessings are already available, just waiting for you to connect. Numerous testimonies confirm the power of this technique. People have reported paying off old debts, receiving unexpected job offers, and even finding creative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. Some claim that signs began appearing even before the 7th day, as if God were eager to pour out prosperity. This reinforces that when the number 7 is used consciously and with faith, surprising results can occur. The story of the walls of Jericho is one of the most striking examples of the power of faith and obedience to divine instructions. Imagine a fortified city, surrounded by walls so high and thick they seemed impossible to breach. It was in this scenario that God gave Joshua an unusual command, to walk around the city once a day for 6 days, and on the 7th day, to circle it 7 times and let out a final shout. To human eyes, this made no sense, but it was precisely this act of trust that would pave the way for the miracle. What's striking is that the strategy didn't involve weapons, physical strength, or war machines, but rather perseverance and obedience. Each lap in silence was as if the people were spiritually surrounding the obstacle, declaring, without words, that victory was already assured. On the 7th day, as they completed the 7 laps and shouted, "The impossible happened," the walls fell to the ground. It was God's power, manifested at just the right time, that transformed what seemed insurmountable into a clear victory. This biblical passage teaches us that often, our own walls, debt, family problems, emotional blocks, can be torn down with the same combination of faith and persistence. Just as the people of Israel trusted the process, we too can apply the principle of the number 7 to overcome our challenges. When we remain steadfast in prayer and purpose, even if the result is not yet visible, we are preparing the ground for the walls of scarcity and limitation to crumble before us. The story of the Syrian generals suffering from incurable leprosy shows us that faith and obedience to divine commands can yield surprising results, even in seemingly hopeless situations. He received guidance from the prophet Elisha, to dip himself 7 times in the Jordan River. At first glance, the instructions seemed too simple for such a serious illness, but the key was perseverance and trust in the process. Each dip represented a step toward healing, a cycle of surrender and faith. The general needed to complete the cycle, even without seeing immediate results. It was only after dipping 7 times that the leprosy completely disappeared, demonstrating that miracles often require patience and dedication. This story reinforces the importance of the number 7 as a symbol of fulfillment and completion, indicating that the blessing only manifests when the process is followed to its conclusion. For us, this lesson is valuable. Our problems and limitations can also be healed if we respect the full cycle of spiritual technique. With each day of practice, reciting Psalm 23 and maintaining faith, we are, like the general, moving closer to transformation. It's not just about repeating words, but about aligning mind, heart, and actions with the divine plan, trusting that victory has already been determined even before the first dive. The number 7 appears repeatedly in the Bible and in many spiritual traditions, always associated with wholeness and perfection. In creation, God worked for 6 days and rested on the 7th, sanctifying it. This pattern shows us that there is a natural cycle of action and completion, and that the number 7 carries with it a special spiritual power capable of bringing about miracles and blessings. Besides symbolizing the completion of a cycle, the number 7 represents the harmony between the human and the divine. It reminds us that faith combined with persistence creates fertile ground for the manifestation of abundance. Each 7-day practice, each conscious repetition of a psalm or prayer, is like aligning our efforts with this universal energy, allowing tangible results to appear in our lives consistently and powerfully. When we connect the number 7 to sacred texts, such as a 6-verse psalm we use during the 7-day cycle, we perceive divine synchronicity. Each verse acts as a bridge between our intention and the miracle's fulfillment, reinforcing that the power of the complete cycle depends not only on our will but also on the collaboration of divine energy. It is the combination of faith, action, and time that makes the transformation real and tangible. Before beginning the 7-day cycle, it's essential to identify the walls you need to break down. These can manifest as debt, financial stagnation, lack of opportunities, or emotional blocks. Recognizing the problem is the first step to spiritually surrounding it and opening space for divine intervention. Without this awareness, the technique risks becoming just a ritual with no real effect. Psalm 23 acts as a spiritual shield, allowing you to surround the problem with faith and intention. As you recite it, visualize your difficulty being contained and transformed, as if circling Jericho, but this time within yourself. Each word is a declaration of trust and surrender, strengthening your connection with God and preparing the ground for abundance to manifest. Remember, victory has already been determined before the cycle even ends. The 7-day technique doesn't create miracles, it simply aligns you with what God has already planned. By maintaining faith, patience, and dedication, your inner walls will begin to crumble. It's as if each day of practice is a step closer to unlocking the prosperity and blessings God has already reserved for you. Before beginning the 7-day cycle, it's important to understand that abundance has already been granted by God. The ritual doesn't create wealth, it simply opens the channels for blessings to flow to you. This understanding completely changes the way you connect with Psalm 23, transforming each word into a direct bridge to prosperity and spiritual growth. Recognizing that the psalm is a spiritual map is essential. Each verse contains subtle instructions for the mind and heart, helping to align your thoughts, intentions, and actions with divine will. By understanding it this way, you don't just recite words, but internalize meanings, allowing your faith to grow stronger and the energy of abundance to manifest concretely. It's also important to take a moment to absorb each verse and its impact. It's not about speed, but about deep connection. As you reflect on each line, visualize your blessings being released, feel anticipatory gratitude, and realize that upon completing the 7-day cycle, you will be ready to receive miracles. This preparation is what transforms a spiritual practice into tangible results in your life. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. This verse reminds us that God's provision is complete, and that when we trust in Him, we need not fear scarcity. As you recite it, visualize your needs being met and allow faith to fill any void in your financial or emotional life. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Here we find the promise of peace and prosperity. Imagine yourself resting in abundance, feeling tranquility even in the midst of challenges. This verse strengthens the confidence that God not only provides but also leads us to a state of well-being and security. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. This passage offers divine protection in times of difficulty. Visualize yourself protected as you face obstacles, knowing that no situation can prevent blessings from arriving. Each verse of Psalm 23, including, "You prepare a table before me," and "My cup overflows," reinforces that God desires you to have more than enough, that your prosperity be visible, and that you receive honor and abundance beyond your expectations. Using Psalm 23 as a daily affirmation is a powerful way to acknowledge your worth and worthiness. As you recite it, feel each word filling your being, eliminating doubts and strengthening your confidence that you are aligned with divine energy. This practice helps break down limiting beliefs that may be blocking prosperity and abundance. Each recitation also acts as a spiritual cleansing, removing feelings of inadequacy or fear. It's a reminder that nothing is impossible for God, and that by trusting fully, you open the way for unexpected miracles. The energy you generate by deeply believing in the Psalm's promises creates a frequency that attracts blessings into your life. By connecting with this energy daily, you begin to notice subtle signs of transformation. Small opportunities arise, creative solutions emerge, and feelings of scarcity give way to a steady flow of abundance. This direct connection to the divine source reinforces that you are not alone and that prosperity is already available, just waiting for you to open yourself up to it. The ritual consists of reciting Psalm 23 for 7 consecutive days, preferably at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m., ideal times to connect with the energy of the day and night. Daily repetition strengthens the intention and creates a complete cycle of spiritual alignment, preparing the heart to receive the blessings already granted. The number 7 is central to this process, symbolizing wholeness, perfection, and completion. Each day represents a step in the journey of faith, and the complete cycle ensures that spiritual energy manifests effectively. It's not just about reciting words, but about experiencing each verse, feeling the divine presence in action as you declare your openness to receive. During the ritual, keep your mind focused on the intention of receiving divine help and visualize the desired results. Feel gratitude in advance, trust that victory has already been determined, and observe how signs of prosperity begin to appear in your life. Daily practice creates a frequency of abundance that, when completed, makes it impossible for blessings to fail to manifest. The method's promise is clear: when you dedicate yourself to the 7-day ritual with faith and intention, divine help arrives in unexpected ways. Opportunities, extra income, or creative solutions to long-standing problems may arise. Experience shows that transformation often occurs even before the cycle ends, reinforcing that abundance is already available to those who surrender. Now is your time to act. Accept the challenge of beginning the 7-day cycle and commit to daily practice of Psalm 23. Remember, It's not about physical effort, but about aligning your heart, mind, and actions with God's will. By doing so, you align yourself with the divine energy that breaks down walls and opens doors that previously seemed impossible. And never forget, faith is the essential ingredient. Stay strong, confident, and open to blessings, even if they come in unexpected ways. Allow yourself to feel the abundance God has already reserved for you and share this journey with gratitude, for each step taken in faith brings you closer to a life of prosperity and miracles. Now that you know the power of Psalm 23 and the 7-day technique, it's time to put it all into practice. Ask yourself, what internal walls are blocking my prosperity? What beliefs need to be transformed? Reflect on this and allow each recitation of the psalm to be a firm step toward victory and abundance. Remember that transformation depends on your faith and consistency. Each day of practice is a spiritual investment that attracts miracles, unexpected income, and solutions to long-standing challenges. Visualize the results, feel gratitude in advance, and trust that divine help is already at work. The more you connect, the more evident the presence of God's blessings in your life becomes. If you commit to this ritual, you'll not only receive prosperity but also strengthen your faith and your relationship with the divine. Start now, share your experience, and stay open to opportunities. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to see more content that will transform your life and elevate your energy to attract abundance and miracles.